Hello everyone, my name is Cindy and I am here to give you my Dreamland Lore video essay. Now, I have been obsessed with Alisha Liston and her music since February of 2023. It's a long time. I found her because I was really invested in the show called The Owl House, and I was looking at like cosplays, videos, all that kind of stuff, and one of Alicia's Lou's cosplays showed up on my free page, and I was like, wow, this person's really good. They look just like Lou's. I'm gonna follow them. And then I was like stalking their page because that's what I do anytime I find someone's like videos that I like on TikTok, and I saw Poison Tea and I was like, this song is a banger. I need to know more. And so after a little more deep diving and stuff, I found out that it's like a whole like thing or whatever. Now this is when it wasn't like big with all of the lore, but I was still like so invested. I was obsessed with this song and I was like, this is so good. Where do I find this? Stuff like that. So I found on Spotify Alicia's like page and stuff like that, and I found like some other songs and I was like, wow, like they've got an EP out, they've got a couple other songs, like this is so good. And I like immediately fell in love with everything that was Alisha Liston. And so like from then on I found their like music TikTok account, I have their cosplay TikTok account, and I was just like, wow, this is so cool. And they were like posting a bunch of stuff about like Poison Tea, about their new song that was coming out in, I think it was March, yeah, Journey of a Wanderer. And I was like, this is so good, I'm hyped. And so I would set like reminders at night. I like subscribed to their like newsletter thing or whatever, so whenever new songs would come out I would get like notifications for it. I would set like countdowns on like different songs that would come out. I might have pictures of it somewhere. I was just elated with everything. And then I guess like as they started getting more popular with their like Dreamland stuff, there were more videos on TikTok about it. It was like Dreamland Lore, and I was like jaw dropped. I was like, no way. It wasn't like a name for this like main character and stuff like that, but I was still like so like invested, and I was like, I need to know like, where's this lore coming from, where can I get more? And I think the best like night of my life was June 9th, right? Yeah, June 9th, 2023, when Timekeeper's Heartbeat came out. I was so excited for the song to come out, and I remember that night I always stay up till 12 so I can hear the song as soon as it comes out. And so I listened to it. I was like, no way, this is actually so good. Like, I need to loop this every single second of every day. Like, I can't. So the entire rest of that year, at least for the next like 3 months, that song was on loop. You would not, I mean, I would listen to like other music, I guess, but you would not catch me listening to like anything but that. Like, obsessed. I tried to like guess the lyrics and like what it all said, and I did like this whole like essay thing about it. I can probably find it somewhere as well. It's all in my notes app. With that being said, more and more lore came out, and more like videos that they came up with, the more I just was like, wow, this is amazing. And I like asked about like different lore and stuff like that, and I did get some responses because I'm actually so like excited because Alisha really interacts with her fans and all that kind of stuff. So I would like comment, I would get these like responses and stuff like that, and I was like, this is amazing. I've never been so like invested in something, and like the creator has like been like invested back, I guess. I just want to come and give my like explanation, what I have so far based on everything that Alisha has given us and everything that I've like made connections to, I guess. So without further ado, here we're gonna go, and I'm gonna start off by putting this timeline that she put on TikTok, which just has like a basic rundown, I guess, of what happened. And I'm also gonna include some like my own theories in here, so I will go off topic, but it's like on topic still. It's on the topic of like Dreamland and stuff like that, but I'll go off topic in the sense of like not a lot of this will be canonical, but like I'm doing my best, okay?
Well, yes, of course, the rabbit hole just keeps getting deeper and deeper. Lux was born to the Chandler house. I'll explain more of what that means later, but practically they're born to a family of candle makers. Many of Lux's friends, relatives, other people have passed away from the disease. As a child, Lux would cope with all this through making cures out of the most random ingredients that did not work. But eventually, as they grew older, they fell in love with Cittern and poetry. Although Lux wanted to trade houses, their father became ill at the age of 8, so Lux has been running the candle shop ever since. Lux started being able to see the disease about 3 years ago, but the beginning of the story is the first time that they've seen the disease on themselves. Completely mortified and unsure how to cope with all of this, Lux runs away to Dreamland, the forest outside of Ellsworth's walls, which hopefully contains the cure that they've been dreaming of throughout childhood. The Dreamland album and songs itself are like Lux's diary. This is the feelings and emotions going on in Lux's head while this adventure is taking place.
With previous videos that will have either been displayed before or will be displayed after, I don't know. I'm just here, okay, guys? Alisha gives a lot of lore on the background of Dreamland, and there's an old screenshot. I'll probably have to actually end up finding it because it's an important screenshot. I don't know if the video is still up, and that's why I think it's important to me, because it had all of the different like houses that of Ellsworth listed in there. I'm gonna put it next to me, okay? Lux is in whatever one, I already forgot, was the candle making one, okay? But that's a lot. That's like most of the lore that we get from Alisha is about like the Lux lore and like how they were like a candle maker. And in one of the videos that they say that Lux is a candle maker and that in Ellsworth candle making is supposed to cure diseases.
Being a part of the Chandler house means that Lux is a candle maker, and within Ellsworth, candles are believed to help fend off diseases.
So one of my theories is that Lux's father got sick when Lux was 8 years old. I don't know if the lore is that he died or not, but that's a whole different thing. But I said that Lux took over the candle shop. Now, with this information, I feel like there's definitely more lore to Lux about, like, specifically with their father being sick, but definitely I feel like part of this was that Lux being a candle maker and like doing like using whatever ingredients that they could to find a cure or whatever. If candles were supposed to be the cure, either Lux was making potions out of like general silliness, or they were finding candles and trying to make different candles that will help cure it. Lux was like, oh no, there's this disease that's actually killing people. Like, it's killed my father, it's killed probably other people in Ellsworth. I should probably try and find a way to make it. So Welcome to Dreamland is basically Lux being like, oh my gosh, this is so silly. Like, this can all be so happy. Like, this is our dream world. Everything's fine. Nothing's wrong. We're all okay. Girl. Actually, there is this disease, which is Wisteria decay. This is like the harsh reality, basically, that comes after this, like, them being like, this is so silly, I love my life, this is gonna be, like, we're gonna be so happy someday. This is the harsh reality of it. And Wisteria decay is, I've written many essays in my notes app about different songs and like the depth to them and their lore and all that kind of stuff. So in between this, I'll put basically those essays about like analyzing like each of the lyrics and what they all mean and all that kind of stuff, so that way you guys can have more like background to it. The way that my mind works, okay, I look at a song and I look at the lyrics based on my prior knowledge. I can use it to make inferences on this kind of stuff. But that's not the point. Basically, after they, like, come to this realization, like, oh, this actually isn't the dream world that I wanted it to be, blah, blah, blah. And Lux was 12. That's when they first saw the disease on themselves. And I think their journey started when they were 15, right? I don't think that was the starting point. But, like, I feel like at some point, all of this stuff, like, added up in their mind. And they're like, I don't think we can go on living like this. Like, our entire kingdom's gonna be wiped out if we don't find this cure. And so Lux is like, bye guys, I'm going on a journey. So that's where Journey of a Wanderer comes in. And I like the way that the music video for this is set up, because it does look like it's like out, like just outside of some kingdom's walls, like by a forest, but not too by like the forest or whatever. So they're like starting their journey, and it's very like, it's a very hopeful song. They're like, oh, this is gonna be like amazing, like I'm gonna go out and I'm gonna find this cure and everything's gonna be okay, right? Wrong! They get to Stardew Forest and they're like, this is crazy work. This is so magical and cool, and wow, it's so like whimsical and pretty and stuff like that. They're not wrong, but they're also not entirely right. The whole concept of Stardew Forest is that it reflects your feelings and your emotions. At the beginning of like this journey, they're very hopeful. They're very excited for this. So probably when they get into the forest, when they get into Stardew Forest, they're excited. They're like, this is so cool. Like, look how pretty it is. All blah, 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 that kind of stuff. As the journey progresses, they probably, like, the assumption is that they lose hope. As they go further go into the Stardew Forest, that hope in them starts to, like, slip away. It starts, like, kind of, like, fading a little bit, and with that, the forest is reflecting their emotions. So what are we thinking? They starts to leave. It starts to go, like, backwards and all that kind of stuff. Because they're like, wow, this is probably, like, the journey's probably been going on for so long. They're like, how much more of this am I gonna have to endure before, like, things start happening beyond my control? I'm such a fake fan. My favorite song was next. Okay, that's a lie. My favorite song is Timekeeper's Heartbeat, but very close second is Withered Ways. Withered Ways is so good. Withered Ways is definitely, like, because the end of Stardew Forest, you can, like, hear, like, lessening, like, in the beginning of Stardew Forest, it definitely sounds more whimsical, more happy, all that kind of stuff. And in Stardew Forest, like, towards the end, it's like, sometimes it gets dark and scary, fear won't let you go, but that's only temporary, feeling so alone. And towards, like, that last part of the chorus in the song, you hear it start to get, like, slower, like, quieter, more, like, solemn, because they're like, how much longer is this gonna go on? And then Withered Ways is, if you get lost in a forest, that's terrifying. Like, let's start with that. So with the assumption that Lux feels lost in this forest, they're gonna feel, like, sad about it. They're gonna feel like, what is happening? Like, am I, like, I'm losing hope. Is my lantern flickering, or is it tricks of light? Flames unbound, just a matter of time. I'm drifting down one's flourished paths, where is safe? All the wonders fell to withered ways. So, like, I'm drifting down once flourished paths, where is safe. They're probably missing the safety of their kingdom, Elswith. They're missing what they used to have, but, like, need to help Elswith is higher than them being like, I'm scared, I want to go home, mommy, you know? That was kind of mean. All the wonders fell to withered ways. So you can hear, like, the wonder, the curiosity, the excitement in Journey of a Wanderer into Stardew Forest, but all the wonder fell to withered ways. It's, like, fading, and so they're probably on this, like, path that looks like withered away. It looks like not healthy, not good. Here's where the lore gets good. Oh, I did so much research in 2023. Well, research, because it's not like this is real or anything, or like I had much to research. I did some deep diving in 2023 about poison tea. And poison tea, first of all, let me establish that all of Alicia's songs have, like, background meanings. So you have, like, the upfront, like, the whimsical, this is such a cute song, tee-hee giggle, and then you have the background of the lore, and then, well, okay, foreground, middle ground, background. Middle ground is the lore, and then background is the meaning behind it. The meaning behind poison tea is using unhealthy coping mechanisms for, like, help yourself through all of your, like, life problems and stuff. Obviously, that's not going to slide, but the metaphor in that for Dreamland is the lore is that the sprites gave Lux this like idea of using this tea. I don't know what the sprites are. I wish I did. I want to know more about that, because then I could probably form more like accurate conclusions. But basically the sprites give Lux this like option of this tea. They're like, oh, it'll cure the symptoms, but it's a temporary solution. I'm not sure. I do not think that based on this song, I'm pretty sure that Lux had no clue what the tea did. Because when you find that like temporary relief in this tea, if it goes away, you're just gonna want it more, right? That's how these like addictions happen. So they take it, they're like, oh my gosh, this is so like refreshing. I can take a deep breath, I'll be okay. But then it's not okay in the end, you know? Because they just keep like doing it again and again and again, and they get sicker from it. It's, instead of helping them, it like gives them, I guess, I think it's definitely a different like problem than the Wisterium decayed like disease that they have. Wisterium decay that's inside of them, it's a different thing. It's like they're coughing up petals and stuff like that. Like these, like it's hurting them on the inside, and so they're realizing this and they're like, dang, this isn't good. How do I like stop this? Now, this is where we get into my favorite song, Timekeeper's Heartbeat. So, Timekeeper's Heartbeat. When this song first came out, if you listen to it and you look at the lyrics, you're like, this doesn't sound like Lux. They have a whole different, like, once again, with the, like the different houses or whatever, Lux is in candle making. Lux isn't in, like, clock making, clockwork or whatever. But if we revisit the Lux timeline lore, you'll see that Lux wanted to change houses, but it's not specified which house. So based on like the houses or whatever, I feel like there could be multiple options. I, again, don't remember all the houses by heart. I'll like circle them or whatever, whichever ones I think that they would be in. But they could have wanted to be in like the clockwork house rather than the candle making one. And oh, another theory about that. They're in the candle making one, and candle making is supposed to heal diseases. If with the assumption that they couldn't have healed their father from the disease, why would Lux want to stay in the candle making thing? What if they think of themselves as a failure? Think about that, guys. Think about that. But basically, so assuming that they saw themselves as this failure, they're like, I can't be a candle maker anymore. I'm such a disgrace. This isn't gonna work out anymore. Well, Clockmaker's welcoming thing, and I thought that this song wasn't from Lux's point of view. Apparently it is. It got Alisha literally confirmed this, like, how long after? Like, at least a couple months after Timekeeper's Heartbeat came out. And I remember I was like, I know you did not just say that. After all of my, like, theorizing of, like, who it could be, I was thinking, oh, it could be someone who is in the Stardew Forest. Someone that, like, someone that they found like on the way of their journey or whatever. Maybe they stopped by a like cottage that they saw and met this person. No, it's Lux themselves. So this is where the part of the lore gets interesting in my eyes. There are different parts of Dreamland, obviously. Again, once upon a time, I had a map, or not a map, but I had like a list of all the different places in Dreamland. Where'd they go? No idea, but I actually do want to make a map at some point. I might have to ask if Alisha has a map or if there's a map I can draw. I can't draw. Point is, there are different places, and while most of Dreamland reflects your emotions, Haraeth, which is what this part of the forest is called, reflects your memories. And what Alisha says about this is this part of the journey is where Lux realizes it's not their fault. What could Lux realize isn't their fault? Remember what we said about Lux's father dying? Or it's implied that their dad died, okay? I feel like we can just accept that part of it. They probably feel guilty about it because, once again, going back to this lore, yeah, I'm gonna repeat myself multiple times. They're a candle maker. Candle makers make candles that are supposed to heal diseases. They couldn't heal their dad's disease, which was the one that they had, pretty much everybody has at this point. Like, let's just assume that like 90% of this kingdom has it or whatever, including Lux himself. They couldn't save their father. They probably couldn't save anybody else either. So they're reliving these memories right now, trying to fix what's wrong with their dad, trying to like make these different candles, make these different cures for this disease, and every single one of them failing, and then probably eventually the memory of their dying father. But going through this journey, through all of their emotions and such, which I did in fact forget to mention, that Alisha mentions that once you realize it's your emotions reflecting it, you learn to control it, which I think comes in a later song. I don't know. But back to the point. It takes them, oh my goodness, this time to realize, like, maybe it wasn't my fault in the first place. Like, if this disease is uncurable, like, based on, like, all of their prior knowledge, all of the things that's happened to them in this journey of Dreamland, it's not their fault. They had the poison tea incident. That wasn't their fault. Who knows if it was even the sprite's fault, you know? Like, what if they were just like, oh, hey, we found this flower, these petals or whatever that you can make a tea out of, and it'll help you. What if the sprites didn't know that? And if they did, then that's deception. And that's a whole, I should make a theory about that too. Okay, anyways. They are realizing, they're like, hey, none of this is actually my fault in the end. Like, it's not like they caused the disease. It's not like anybody else could have found a cure, you know? Like, all this stuff still happened. In the end, it wasn't going to be like the burden on to Lux themselves. But I think the most interesting part of the song is, I don't know what it's called, okay? Like, the really, like, loud, big part that's in, like, almost every single Alisha song. You've tried and you've tried, but oh, we both know that you've lost your own self and you have no control. So probably deep inside these memories and just, like, losing their mind. Like, trying to think... Oh, the Owl House. This is a good reference. If you've watched the Owl House, in one of the episodes, or I think is referenced in a couple of the episodes, Gus is an illusionist, which means he can, like, make things, like, around him look different. In one of these episodes, he has like a horrible illusion that he's stuck in, like, he can't get out of it, and he's surrounded by these, like, bullies and stuff like that, and he can't get out of it. So I feel like that would be the situation that Lux is in right now. They're surrounded by all these horrible memories and just, like, stuck inside their own mind. They can't get out of it, which I feel like is relatable to a lot of people on this planet Earth. But that's like what I think that part of the song is. Grass couldn't grow out from under your feet, little rabbit in a herd, too helpless, too weak. That's once again referencing what they are going through with all of this. Too desperate to escape, you're scared of the ghost, but you sacrifice yourself to keep one thing whole. That leaves much to be, like, interpreted as far as that goes. Again, I'd have to, like, ask Alisha, that kind of stuff, like, go deeper into the videos. But with that part, it's like, oh, you're sacrificing yourself. I feel like this can mean two things: that they're giving everything in their soul to create this cure for their dad, or for, like, anybody in Elspeth at this point. I feel like it's not even just about their dad, but to create this cure, they're giving everything that they have towards this possible cure or whatever. And it could also mean that they went on this journey, that could have killed them. Obviously, in the end, it doesn't, spoiler alert, but it could have killed them. They've sacrificed themselves to try and fix it. But here's where the best part comes in. You'll heal what doesn't exist. What's all said and gone. We're not heroes, we're kids. You'll heal what doesn't exist. What was that about previously when they said that the disease, you can't see that? Like, not everybody can see the disease, and the people that can have it. So with this knowledge, you're trying to heal something that to other people doesn't exist. It's not, like, a real thing. Like, so I think that's another thing with the candle making, if Lux was wasting all of this time to fix something that people didn't believe in because they couldn't see it, they didn't have it, you're trying to heal what doesn't exist. I feel like this part of the song is where Lux realizes, like, we're not heroes, we're kids. That's what that part says, we're not heroes, we're kids. That's why I thought that it was going to be someone else with Lux. I guess it wasn't. So I don't know what that means. So I expect an explanation. Not really, but like, Lux isn't a hero. Lux realizes that it doesn't matter. Like, they tried their best, and even though their efforts were fruitless, it doesn't matter. They're not supposed to be a hero. They're just like 15 or 12 at the time, 8, 12, whatever. They're a kid. They don't need to be going out and saving the whole world or whatever. But I feel like at this point, Lux is too far gone in this dreamland reality? I don't know. Lux is just too far gone in this like whole dreamland journey that they don't have anything better to do or whatever. Like, so then we go back into the chorus. Timekeeper's work will never ever stop, repairing the fractures of the past, tormented by the pressure to mend it back together, but the pieces so break in their grasp, while their heart keeps on beating through the endless stream. Store the last. The work never ends. No, it's never meant to mend. This broke heart made forever glass. Yes. After Timekeeper's Heartbeat comes Shattered Little Lanterns. Shattered Little Lantern is, I think, one of the few, there are a few songs that I don't think will make sense in my brain as far as the lore goes, just because of the way that it's written and then the placement of it in the album. And I know that obviously there are, like, reasons why it was placed in the album, what the deeper meaning actually is. But in this specific song, Shattered Little Lantern, after Timekeeper's Heartbeat, that was supposed to be their realization that, oh no, this wasn't my fault in the first place. Shattered Little Lantern sounds like yet another song of losing hope, of losing this, like, sense of yourself. But at the same time, I do understand where it's, like, this, like, realization arc. Shattered Little Lantern with a little burnt out flame, lost in hysterical cure for a cure they can't create. I don't remember all the lyrics. Okay, guys, listen, I'm doing my best. I know for the most part most of them. Something believing delusions could keep me alive. I wish something more than lullabies. Basically I think that this is, oh, I'm slow. This is their realization arc. Believing that delusions could keep me alive or keep them alive. This is where they're realizing, like, in the beginning in Welcome to Dreamland, those were their delusions. Those were them being like, oh, this could be, like, I could be so amazing, like, this world could be so happy. Very incorrect. This is them realizing this is what was keeping them going for so long, but it's hard to, like, come to terms with reality when you've been just imagining this perfect world for so long. And as much as reality does hurt, it's better to, like, realize it and, like, learn to let go. So basically this entire song is just Lux realizing that the delusions and, like, their, like, whole, like, thought of what, like, dreamland and what outside of Ellsworth, which is actual dreamland, is about, them realizing, like, oh, I can't just assume that everything that I'm going into is going to be fun and magical, because one of the things that, like, I've had to make sense in my life is you can't have good days without having bad days, because if every single day was good, it would just start becoming mid. It would just start becoming boring. So if Lux is having these, like, bad days, these bad, like, experiences between the poison tea and then the Haraeth, yeah, being, like, stuck in these memories, like, you can't have these good, like, days or whatever without that. So I believe that them, like, oh, believing these delusions could keep me alive. Don't they say us? Could keep, I don't remember. Alisha, stop confusing me. This is them basically being like, you need to stop. thinking that these delusions are real and come to terms with reality, which leads me to Mend My Soul in Lavender. Mend My Soul in Lavender is, once again, one of the ones that I have to have my own, like, implications of. There isn't much lore known about it. Mend My Soul in Lavender, the name itself makes sense. Throughout this entire journey, Lux is tired. Lux is, like, hurt. Lux is, like, going through these whole, like, basically, like, this whole character arc, because obviously, because it's a, you know, fictional something. Lux is going through this whole character arc, and it's hurting them. It's hurting their soul. So, mending their soul in Lavender, which I guess is a part of Dreamland. This is them realizing, like, land of dreams, you're far more than what we see. Oh, hear my plea, cinder will restore in turn, please mend my soul in lavender. That might be the lyrics, I don't know. I think that's for the most part correct, though. In this land of dreams that they say, it's more than what they expected. This could both mean that it was more magical to them, like when they first got into Stardew Forest, you could just imagine and hear how, like, excited and, like, amazing that this, like, is. Like, wow, this is so much greater than I expected. And then slowly it goes downhill and they're like, wow, this is also worse than I expected, question mark. Like, what are we doing here? This is the part of the lore that they've come to realize that I can be okay throughout all of this as long as I just work on myself, as long as I, like, work on the fact that not all of this is going to be good, but also not all of it's going to be bad, as long as I focus on healing that bad, if that makes sense. And with Mend My Soul in Lavender leads us into Holes. The song came out when I was, like, put, like, Alisha Dreamland Lore on the back burner. But when this song came out, like, it definitely is a song, like, when you listen to it and you don't know a lot of the lore, or even I knew a lot of the lore, and it didn't make a lot of sense to me, specifically partially because of the placement, but more specifically because of the lyrics. In the timeline, Alisha says to mend the holes in their heart, but the song implies it's more than that. I'm holes, your monster. Shattered lungs do still deserve to breathe. Listen, guys, I did not analyze this song like I should have, and I feel bad. But I'll do it. I promise. I'm gonna go through and I'm gonna write my essays on each of the Dreamland songs and what they mean. So don't diss me. Anyway, holes is basically them, like, realizing, like, these, like, holes or imperfections, my assumption, in themselves is, like, it's difficult to understand, it's difficult to comprehend. But with all of the things that they've now learned, they're realizing that mending my soul in lavender, mending their holes inside of them, that they can to have a happy ending and have, like, a little, like, yippee era, whatever. New setting, yay! So, the next song is Dear Sunshine, but it's Lux's version. What does that change? Lyrically, nothing. But, like, the whole, like, aesthetic of it and, like, the music, the way that it's sung, just a little bit of the way that it's sung is a little bit different from the original. The original was sung, like, or, like, was written about Alisha writing a, like, note or whatever to her past self, all that kind of stuff. And Dear Sunshine being incorporated into Dreamland was actually, like, I think it's a really cool concept. Although it doesn't, like, fully align with the, like, story in a sense. I feel like it's kind of like a sidetrack version of it, but this song following Holes makes a lot of sense, because Holes is where you're kind of like, oh wow, like, I'm just a little messed up, like, I was like a lot of stuff happened to me or whatever, and it's like, oh, dear sunshine, dear my, like, inner child, this, like, things are gonna happen, and even though they are, I will be right there with you or whatever. Like, your future self is, like, walking you through this despite you, like, basically, like, not actually being there, but it's like, oh, I'll always be there for you anyways because this is so cute and teehee geckle. Now we get into Unwritten Melody, and Unwritten Melody is a really interesting one. I didn't mean that in like a bad way or whatever, but I like the way the Unwritten Melody, like I like the vibe of it and I like the meaning behind it. Dear author of my story, I'm taking the pen and ink. I'm no unfilled prophecy. I'm something something destiny. Quill in hand and my soul spilling. I'm worth the healing. I'm no tragic prophecy. I'm an unwritten melody. It's basically my take on it is that after going through Dreamland or whatever, Lux isn't gonna let Dreamland control them anymore. Like going through Stardew Forest and it reflecting all of their emotions that they were feeling feeling and couldn't control, and then going through her wraith and being like sworn by all these memories and stuff. They're basically like, oh, I'm not gonna let that slide. And so they're now being more like assertive over like, this is my life, this is my story, I'm gonna be who I really like want to become and stuff like that. And I think that that song is actually just like, it's a really empowering song, and I think it's definitely one of the most like hits you hard pieces of music when you understand it. I'd say that one and Poison Tea are like up there of like, this is such a powerful message hidden within this song, you know? That, and then obviously Timekeeper's Heartbeat is up there, my fave, but I digress once again. So after this, we get a really interesting piece of lore from Alisha. Lux never goes back to Elswith. I know. That had me flabbergasted. And I mean, like, jaw dropped, absolutely shook with that. Like, what do you mean Lux never went back? Like, what happened to them? They said that these, like, notes, these, like, papers that were, like, flying back to Elswith or whatever, those are just coming out of nowhere. Like, these people of Elswith, they're probably like, what are these or whatever? I don't know if Lux's dad is alive, the assumption that he's dead, but I don't know if Lux has a mother either, or any like friends maybe, or like family friends, those kind of things, people in their same house. Like, what if they're finding these and they know that they're from Lux, and they're like, where did they go? Like, what happened? And there are theories that I personally have thought of, and there are also things that weren't confirmed. My number one, like, confusion is Lux still affected by the disease? That's because if Lux is still, because we don't get confirmation of whether Lux found the cure, and we also don't get confirmation on what happened to Elswith after this. So, like, is Lux cured from the disease? And then here's where my theories come in. Either Lux is cured from the disease and they're genuinely in this like amazing paradise, or Lux is so like deep into like delusion from the disease that this whole like paradise thing that they're in is just like a hoax. Like, they're actually like sick and dying, and this is all just in their like reality. And this could mean that either Dreamland wasn't real in the first place, and this is just them like sick in bed still in Elswith, just like having this whole like imagination realization arc, whatever, or this is that they're actually like in Dreamland, but they're just like kind of like really out of it. Those two, I feel like out of that one, it's not as likely. There are like things to prove like that's not like the true thing that happened. But one of the other things, like, I guess one of my other theories is that Lux just like Lux wanted to get away, I guess, from Elswith, because after they lost like people to this disease, why would you want to go back when you found this paradise? Because if there are letters like making their way back and Lux is aware of this, why isn't Lux writing letters and telling people like, hey, if you come through here, you'll have your realization arc and then you can come be happy. You like this disease will be cured. But again, we don't have confirmation that this disease is cured. See what I mean? See what I'm getting at? Like, it doesn't, the end of the story doesn't make sense, and that's that's like my favorite part about it, is because I can draw so many different conclusions and I can make so many theories. Maybe I will. I don't have anything better to do with my life. Ignoring the 3 classes I'm currently not doing my homework for right now. Anyways, that's basically the main part of the Dreamland lore that I have as of right now. There's a lot more to still be discovered, and there's a lot more that I personally have to like go over in my mind and think about. But I hope that this, like, I don't know, was like a fun watch, even though I know nobody actually cares or like knows anything about this. But this is more fun for me because I love the Dreamland album. I love Alisha Liston and everything that they do. And just this was so much fun to me. So thank you all for watching, and I hope that you guys all have an amazing day.